Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Thanks for everybody being here tonight. Traffic was pretty heavy. That was why I just barely slipped in. Okay, so we'll stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Chrissy, we'll have the roll call.
Of course. Chair Olive Horning,
Present.
Vice Chair Bobby Bryant,
Here.
Member Patrice Campbell.
Here.
I have Member Elizabeth Lamug as an excused absence, along with Member Trevor Estill. Member Russell Alexander,
Present.
Member Carolina Rhodey.
Present.
And then I also have alternate Jaleesa Collins as an excused absence.
I'm not sure that we have a quorum.
Yes, we have a quorum.
We do have okay, yes, we do. All right.
3 is a quorum.
Stab myself in the eye. All right. Okay, so we're on to opening business, approval of the minutes. So I hope you all have had a chance to look over the minutes from October 10th. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? No? All right. Well, I'll just say that the minutes stand approved as printed then, and they'll be filed. Okay.
Do we have a motion to approve?
We don't really need a motion to approve.
Oh, okay.
If there are no additions or corrections to the minutes, then they just stand approved as read or as printed. And we all got a copy of them. So we don't really need a motion to approve the minutes.
Understood, thank you. So moving to old business.
I'm not sure I had both sets of,
There should be stickies, blue sticky tabs for both the work session and the meeting minutes.
maybe it's under, oh, it's on the back. Okay. All right, so that was, okay, so what we just did was the work session. Okay, so look over the actual board minutes and see what you think about the board minutes. Okay, are there any additions or corrections to these minutes?
Madam Chair, wasn't the work session canceled?
No, so
Not for,
November was canceled, and then we didn't have a meeting in December.
Okay, so are you referring to October?
this is October I'm looking at, yeah,
Okay,
October.
Thank you for the clarification.
That's right, for November, yes. All right, then the board minutes for October 10th then stand approved as printed. I have to keep these straight for Chrissy. All right, let's go ahead and look at the 2022-2023 annual report. You know, I'm just kind of wondering why we're looking at this again, because we did this at the last time when we met. You went over it with us, and then you were going to take it to the city council.
Yes, so that was the annual report. Christine wanted to actually go over everything that was in the CLG report that she wrote and that we submitted on her behalf. But she wanted to go over the report. Unfortunately, Christine did get sick, So she just asked that we just go over the contents and if there
Oh,
was any
okay.
questions. Because the annual report, I did pull the information from some of the CLG report and then other things like that. So she just wanted to go over exactly what was in the CLG report.
Okay.
So to introduce, it's Stephanie Streeter, Associate Planner of Community Development. Good evening, Board. I'm just going to go over the brief highlights because as Ms. Horning stated, we did go over this back in November, I believe. So just the report contents, this was submitted in November of 2023. We are required as a CLG. So the first contents of it is the local legislation, if there were any amendments to our ordinance, any tax exemption ordinance, which there were none at this time. It gives the list of the board members, how long they've served on the board, any experience. Another part of it is the preservation board activities. So that would be any trainings that you received, how many work sessions we have, including the work session minutes and the meeting minutes. Then, of course, it's the designations, which we received the local designation back in 2016, and that was updated in 2020. And we did receive our national historic district, the national designation in 2023. If there were any grant projects that we worked on, it also talked about if there were any training topics, which I believe she did talk about how we went over our design guidelines, what the goals of the Historic Preservation Board were. She talked about any significant problems that encountered in the past year, which was the St. Cloud rehabilitation. She mentioned how that kind of slowed down just a little bit. So it was just an overview of our year that Christine wrote down into the report, and we submitted it on for her. Unfortunately, I don't have all of she was meant to present it tonight, so I did kind of do a quick overview, but if you have any questions about what was submitted, I will be happy to answer or follow up with Christine if you have any.
The only question I have is, because I looked over it, and in number 13, where it says National Registry nominations reviewed by commission during reporting period, it says 1, and then there was another part where it mentioned that there were, on number 7, 4 individually listed. Is there any way to put the addresses on that, or the location, or is that?
I don't believe that in this report, that's where the addresses would go. The addresses
Okay.
are on the actual National Register.
Okay.
I'm assuming that based on this information here, that they don't ask for it, and Christine's very thorough with filling out our reports. But I can confirm that information and follow up with Christine.
Okay, perfect, thank you. The one other question, just one, is because of the list of the board members and stuff like that, I thought because Richard Estelle he's also a downtown business owner, I thought maybe that would be something that should be listed because he does have a vested interest.
We can notate that for the next report. Again, this was already submitted back in November, so when it becomes before the board again, we can definitely include him
Okay.
on that list.
Perfect.
When you're doing that, can you also list next to mine as well? I'm a business owner in the city of St. Cloud. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? All right.
I guess not. All right, very good. Okay, moving on then to new business, the meeting dates for 2024. I see a sheet in here under the report with prospective dates.
So we are sticking to the usual. We have 2 months off. We try to meet every month, even if it's for a work session. I made some recommended changes. Of course, the board can go back to how we've previously had July off. My recommendation was to have August off because I've noticed many members are often traveling because families are going back to school, they're coming back from the summer. Some people have children who are going to schools, so I thought maybe August would be a little bit more appropriate. Of course, this is just a recommendation. If the board does decide and make a motion on different dates, that's completely fine. This is just what staff is recommending based on previous experiences of members being out.
Okay. Looks good to me.
Can I make a motion to approve the schedule as is?
What did she say?
Can I make a motion to approve the schedule as presented?
Yes, I'll entertain that motion.
I
Is there
second
a
that
second?
motion. I second that
Okay,
motion.
all right. the motion has been made and seconded that we accept the dates for the future meetings for 2024. Okay, all those in favor? Chrissy, we're going to start doing that vote.
Roll call.
Individual votes.
Very good. So, all those in favor, I will start with roll call. Member Carolina Rhodey.
Aye.
Member Russell Alexander.
Aye.
Member Patrice Campbell.
Aye.
Vice Chair Bobby Bryant.
Aye.
And Chair Olive Horning.
Aye. Okay.
Motion passes, carries
Okay.
5-0.
Very good, they've been approved, that's good. Those dates are good, too. I'm always gone in the summer, so I'm hoping that I'll still be here for the June meeting. I usually am for the June meeting, but then I have to take right off from my other commitments. Okay, all right. Okay, so what's next that you have for us? The meeting times and so forth?
The next I would be the new business, the cases.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm getting hearing aids on Thursday, and I think it's about time.
That's okay. We're starting with the cases, the new business.
All right, but on the other side, I thought that was still, okay, I'm sorry. All right, the meeting dates, okay, the times are still the same, that's not gonna change, and we intend to have a work session before every meeting, is that right? Okay, all right, just so we know, yes. And we can meet here, no problem with that? All right. Okay, very good. All right, then, we come to the certificate of appropriateness.
Good evening. We're presenting COA 23-00026, 1525 10th Street Certificate of Appropriateness. The request is for reconstruction of the south, east, and west elevations. And I would like to correct that recommendation. It is actually a recommendation for denial on this slide. So the applicant is requesting approval from the Historic Preservation Board to reconstruct and repair the south, east, and west elevations of the property located at 1525 10th Street due to citing by community compliance for code violations. The property was built in 1920 according to the property appraiser and our 2020 survey. On August 1st, 2023, the structure was investigated by community compliance for unsafe conditions, which have been outlined in your staff report. These unsafe conditions occurred due to neglect of the building. It had deteriorated over time since nothing had been done to assist the building. So their scope of work, they are requesting to remove the stucco on the west elevation and replacement of the T111 siding, or replacement with the T111 siding. They're removing the plywood and window openings and filling them with concrete block. They plan on installing an exterior door in the existing door openings, and they do plan on removing a garage door and filling it in with concrete block. And then they do plan to paint it with the existing paint color. So this is the west elevation as it exists now. As you can see, the rotting stucco has exposed some of that horizontal previous wood siding. This is what they show before, and that is what they are requesting to do after with the T111 siding. This is the east and south elevations from our code enforcement view that we have. They do plan on cutting back that rotting wood overhang and filling in those windows, which he shows in his renderings here. On the south side, he's removing that garage door, cutting back that rotting wood overhang, and filling it all in with concrete block. On the east side of the building, they do just plan on filling in, they're going to cut more of that rotting overhang in and filling in one window with concrete block and replacing the exterior door. Staff is recommending denial of COA 23-00026 for the proposed scope of work outlined in the staff report due to significant changes that will be made to the historic building. We did consult with our consultant, Christine Dalton, who said that the T111 siding is not appropriate. The filling in of the doors and windows significantly changes the features of the historic building. So we are requesting denial of COA 23-00026. The applicant is not present tonight. He was informed of the meeting. So if you have any questions, staff is available.
With the denial, has he come back with any counter plans on what he wants to do? Because, you know, he can't have that, right? No?
I don't think it's been denied yet. That it would be up to,
Oh, us to deny and then for him to move from there?
I mean,
Okay.
versus denying it, would we want to, can we continue it to the next meeting for the applicant to come here?
It's up to your discretion if you would like to continue it. Be advised, he does have an active code enforcement case. We would have to pass this information on to the magistrate to let them know that you continued it and request that the applicant be here to defend his case.
Did the applicant talk with the city about what he wants to do?
He was
And
informed that the siding would be inappropriate, that the changes would significantly alter. He's just trying to do what he can to come up to code enforcement, to become with code compliance. And then he says that he plans on coming back before the board again to bring the entire changes to the building. So he's only doing this to get code enforcement, his case satisfied.
And was this a recent case in code enforcement?
He was notified August 1st. He was told to submit for historic preservation back in November. He submitted his application, I believe it was December 19th, but he had not paid. We had let him know his application was not sufficient. He did not complete that sufficiency until January. So he was notified August 1st of his code enforcement violations.
Is that the two checks? There's copies of two checks in here.
That was for him to pay for the case. Those were entered in error.
Okay.
And so is it my understanding then that the changes that he's proposing now would be temporary changes?
No, those are permanent changes that
They
he
would
wants to
become-
incorporate into the new work that he will be presenting.
But it's basically to dry it in. Is that what he's doing? And then go to like phase 2 or whatever?
He wants to bring up everything that was brought up for his code compliance, which was unsafe conditions. I believe there were the rotting roof. There was just certain things that he did not meet with code enforcement, so this is his solution, and then he plans on coming before the board. He did not say when he planned to come before the board, but he said he would be coming before the board with overall changes for the building afterward.
Well, we could continue it.
Are we at the point with code enforcement that if there was a denial today, that we would be looking at demolition of a building that is substantial?
There has been no talk of demolition.
Okay. Then I would like to make a motion to continue it and allow that person to come in front of the board and hopefully work with staff. Have we made other options, or have we given him some ideas or options of things that he could do to stay within the historic preservation?
We have offered different siding, but we can try to work with the applicant again to see, hey, your case was continued. Would you like to talk about these alternatives? Otherwise, it will be presented again as a denial. We can absolutely work with the applicant again.
And I would like to make a motion to continue to allow the applicant one more time to come out in front of our board. So I'd make a first motion.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
You wanted to say something?
Okay, all right. It's been moved and seconded
There
that,
was no second.
There wasn't a second.
I'm sorry, who seconded it?
We never had any kind
Nobody.
of discussion on the,
I thought you did.
No,
He asked a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead with your question then.
so, there's already been a motion made, so that's, I'm just not
Well, let's have a
seconding.
second and then we can discuss it, okay? if there's no second, then the motion dies. Yep, okay. All right, so I guess we aren't gonna suggest that it be continued, but if he wants to come back in the future, that's up to.
You can discuss it further and make another motion after the discussion. It can still be to continue, deny, or approve. It's up to the board, but you could have further discussion.
Okay, what did you want to bring up?
So it seems like the applicant went to the city and worked with the city to try and get an application together that would not be denied, failed to listen to the city, and then failed to show up to state his case. The
That's what it
changes
looks
that
like.
the changes that are proposed, while they may to someone be considered temporary, they're not. They're installation of CMU block, which by definition is not temporary. And it's, previously had the metal siding on it, lap siding. There's not a large difference between that and T11 as far as cost-wise, as far as I know. And he couldn't put that up temporarily and then go back to the metal siding. It would make more sense to go ahead and do what's right to begin with. So that's what I'm considering. You know, city staff is very good about working with folks, and they want to come in front of us with things that'll be approved, not denied. So that just leaves me to, without him being here to defend himself, you know,
I completely understand
just,
where
it just
you're coming
questions his
from.
mindset.
Yeah, I definitely completely understand where you're coming from. Like, he's had ample time. I'm looking at it from the situation that we haven't had a meeting since October. So this is the first time we've seen it in front of our board. So I would be willing to give the applicant one more chance to kind of work with the city and then come back. If it still comes up back to us as is, then, you know, it's just, we haven't even had the opportunity for it to come up in a timely manner since we did cancel the last couple of meetings and we don't meet in December. That was where I was going with, let's give the applicant.
So,
Is anything known about why he's not here?
He was informed. He didn't give me a reason as to why.
All right.
so who recommended that it come before this board at this time?
The changes that were made is a major review. He requested that it be pushed because of the code enforcement cases. He was informed back in December that I needed it by a certain date in order for it to go to February. And even then, I still pushed the deadline a little bit to make it work for it to go to February for his schedule for code enforcement.
And if it's denied now, then changes will be made, or will it be brought back once again, if so chosen by the applicant, in its same form?
It would go before magistrate again. So they would be informed that he received a denial. He would have to end up coming back before HPV eventually in order to bring back all of the changes, but the first step would him be going back to the magistrate.
The biggest observation that I have is that the changes that he's proposing is in direct opposition with the standards of the historic guidelines and standards that we have in place. So if we allow it, how are we preserving our history? That to me is bigger than the amount of time he's had to respond. And Christine is very knowledgeable. So if she's saying no, it's like, okay, you know way more than I do.
All right, so where are we now? Are we going to, I think it sounds like we're going to deny it, with the recommendations that we just deny it. So do we need a motion to deny it?
Like to
We
make
need a motion to deny it then. All right, would someone like to make,
I'll make a motion to deny the certificate of appropriateness application as presented based on the Secretary of Interior standards for the treatment of historic properties.
All right,
I second that motion.
there's a second? All right, the motion has been made and seconded. So is there any further discussion?
Well, I will start with the roll call.
Okay,
So I have motion to deny. Member Carolina Rodi,
I approve.
Member Alexander Russell,
Aye.
and I have Member Patrice Campbell,
Aye.
Member Bobby Bryant,
Aye.
and Chair Olive Horning. Chair Olive Horning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Hi.
Okay.
I must be in a dream world here. I'm
Motion.
sorry about that.
Motion denied, 5-0.
Okay. All right. So we're on to 1116 New York Avenue. Okay.
Good evening again, Stephanie Streeter, Associate Planner, presenting COA 24-00001, 1116 New York Avenue, for the reconstruction of their east elevation. And staff and the applicant are recommending approval. The applicant is requesting approval for the Historic Preservation Board for a certificate of appropriateness to reconstruct the east elevation of the property located at 1116 New York Avenue as it previously was prior to the vehicle collision that occurred on November 5th, 2023. The property was built in 1912 according to the property appraiser and our 2020 survey. As we know, on November 9th, 2023, a vehicle collision occurred at this location. The exterior and a portion of the interior east elevation were severely damaged. This is what it previously looked like as of 2018. No significant changes were made since this image was pulled. So their scope of work, they will be rebuilding a facade with a neutral color stone, installation of white French doors, installation of 2 windows with white trim, installation of a black awning with white scallop edging, addition of 2 concrete planters in front of the store, addition of security shutters, and a sketch of proposed alterations are in your attachment A. So these are the proposed French doors dimensions, the proposed black awning with their dimensions, and their concrete planter. And staff is recommending approval of COA 24-00001 for the proposed scope of work outlined in the staff report. The applicant is available for any questions regarding the case.
Got a question for the applicant.
Hi, my name's Jerry Brown, CEO of the Gun Store, 1116 New York Avenue.
I just had a question about the security shutters. What
Yes,
are
sir.
they? What are they?
Well, we, initially, when we came downtown, we placed power white shutters that we roll down at night over the windows and doorways. They're incredibly expensive. They're impenetrable. What we didn't count on was somebody hitting them with a vehicle at 70 miles an hour. Everything around the shutters came apart. The shutters were intact,
Say they-
but, so they're pretty. They're
They're,
white.
So they roll up behind the awning and?
Yeah, they're just
then
like,
I go come down?
they just disappear.
Okay.
And, you know, we just basically want to make the store look like it did before, almost exactly. We did change awning color from blue to black, because originally it was black, and we kind of like that better.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty. It'll be historic looking like it was. We're very attached to our look, and we just want to basically put it back like it was. That's the whole idea.
Yep.
On the concrete planters, is that the one that's going to have the security cameras in them, or did I read that right?
Well, the concrete planters were at the suggestion of the chief.
Okay,
There are several ways that you can prevent a vehicle from crashing into a building to gain entry. One of them are bolsters, which you have in front of the city hall.
Right.
They're poles that come out of the ground, you know, and they can push a button, they can make them go away. Mere mortals can't afford that kind of technology. However, we do have bolsters in the back. We have the same ones they use at Disney World to keep their buses from crashing into the air conditioning units at their hotels. The same guy put them in, but they're unsightly. They can't be in the front. The front must look like New York Avenue is supposed to look. So we're looking at different ideas, and we came up with these pretty good-looking, not gaudy planters. These planters, will, believe it or not, will stop a car. They're heavy. It's something they're using now to like stop terrorists, you know, from which, if you get right down to it, that's what this guy was. You know, it's just incredible what happened to us. You know, we were built to withstand a 35-mile-an-hour collision. No ingress, no way they're getting in. Nobody has ever even heard of someone hitting a building at 70 miles an hour. It was 70.4. And he wasn't robbing us. That wasn't the plan. You know, I don't want to get into the guy's business. It was a tragedy all the way around, especially for us. We just want to put our pretty store back to a pretty store and continue to be a credit to our community.
Now, where will the planters be placed?
In front of the store.
Okay,
So basically, you'll walk up the store like you would now. You'll have double doors like we had before.
right.
And in our two big windows.
She's got a picture.
And then, you see where the rocking chairs are?
Yes, sir.
Pretty much where the planters will be. Maybe a little bit further out than the rocking chairs.
Okay.
I'm not gonna block the sidewalk.
Okay.
I feel very strongly about that. You know, I want traffic flowing up and down the sidewalk, you know, lots of room for people during the markets.
Right,
And,
okay.
we're like, I'm the biggest fan of downtown St. Cloud and retail and restaurants and, you know, everything we do. It's a diamond in the rough. We really have something special here.
Right.
And, you know, we like being part of it. It's gonna look even better,
Good.
I promise.
Thank you for explaining that. Yes, that
Lord
sounds.
knows I need help. He hit my pocket hard.
No, that was really a tragedy that happened,
Oh, my
and so,
goodness.
but we're glad you're putting the building back together again and so forth. That's
Thank you, ma'am.
really
Thank you.
need that, yes, that's
Yes,
for
ma'am.
sure. So, are there any other questions you have for the gentleman?
No, I'd like to make a motion to approve, based on the finding that the proposed alterations are necessary to ensure the structural integrity of the building, for COA 24000001.
I second that.
Okay, all right, it's been moved and seconded, to approve, this COA 24-00001, for the work that is going to be done. Is there any other discussion? All right, I think we're ready for a vote then, please, Chrysia?
Okay. Chair Olive Horning,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bobby Bryant,
Aye.
Member Patrice Campbell,
Aye.
Member Russell Alexander,
Aye.
Member Carolina Rhodey.
Aye.
Motion to approve passes 5-0.
Thank you, I'm grateful.
Good,
Thank you.
thank you for coming to see us. Well, that takes care of our new business. Is there any public comment? Tony, do you want to say anything? Okay, all right, we'll move on. Individual board comments. Member Campbell?
Yeah, I just have a question. Do we have a status, because I noticed that there is, am I allowed to bring this up right now? Tell me if I'm not. Please tell me. There's a fence around 1135 New York where they were going to do the cigar place. It's right next to the auction. Do we know what the status of that is? I don't know if they were working with the city or working with Christine or what.
I will have to double check. I don't believe that we've received any applications or anything for 1135 New York, but I will
Yeah.
verify.
It's the old Allen Realty, that's my reference to it, but,
I believe they were supposed to come back and reapply. The last that I had updated, I think that was something that Christine last worked on before we,
Right.
we paused her on the consulting services.
Are you referring to across from the chamber?
yes, kind of catty corner to the old chamber.
The Cedar Room.
Yes, that's what it was.
I think the last update we had was they were pulling
The
the
siding.
siding off, and they were gonna determine what was good and what was
Right.
salvageable. Did they not come back after that?
I don't remember.
We
them
haven't
coming
gotten an
back.
update. I can
Okay.
follow up and see that. Like I said, that was Christine as we sort of transitioned into that, so I haven't gotten an update about that.
Okay, yeah, I was just, concerned, not concerned, confused, curious, whatever, because there is a fence around it, I thought,
Okay,
Just-
Member Bryant, you have something you'd like to comment on?
No, the only thing that I just wanted to note, I had requested that my last name be updated to my married last name. So if we could just add Lantry, it's Bobby Bryant Lantry now, that would be great. Thank you.
Oh, how do you spell that?
Lantry.
Oh, well,
I'm keeping the Bryant, but you just add Lantry.
okay. Okay, all right, uh-huh.
Trying to make that official switch over everywhere.
that's a tough one.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
We got married 3 years ago. Yeah, still trying. That would be great. Thank you, I appreciate it.
It's about time.
I just have a quick comment. You all are invited to come to our Curiosities and Oddities collection show at the Women's Club on Saturday. We have 23 exhibitors coming with all sorts of collections. You just wouldn't believe what they're going to bring in. I was amazed. So anyway, from 10 to 3 on the 17th, and we have 4 men coming with their collections, and some of those are odd.
Is this a first-time event? Is this a first-time event for you guys?
No, we did it last year too, but I've advertised it more this year. I've had a lot of comments come in on Facebook. You know, one lady said she sold oddities. Could I be a vendor? And I said, well, this really isn't a selling show, you know. But if there are people who are there and want to part with 1 or 2 of their items, they might be willing to do that. But I didn't want it to be like a vendor show, because that's not what it is. So I don't know what she sells. I guess I could follow up and find out.
Might be important.
But anyway, that's the 17th. So yeah, I always like to announce all these wonderful things that we are doing. So, do you have some comments?
I do not, ma'am.
No? All right. Sir?
No comments right now.
No? All right. Okay. All right. Well, that's the end of our individual board comments then. Our next meeting is going to be March 12th at 6 o'clock. Well, is that 6? Yeah, 6 o'clock for this meeting anyway. March 12th. Do we in this area, are we able to buy pot skis? You know what pot skis are?
I don't know what a potski is. no.
Evidently not. Evidently we don't.
Sounds Polish.
It's like a big
does.
jelly donut-like thing, and they're real popular up north. And
Yes.
so, you know, we're getting into Lent, and so
Yes.
this is the big blowout with something really good and gooey and sweet
Yeah.
and so forth. But I don't think, I've never really seen it in the stores or anything down here. So, but up north, it's, people line up to buy these things, yes, so.
A big deal.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Okay, well, all our business is finished, so I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.